Have you ever dealt with an HOA or developer who acted like they owned the world? Because that's exactly how this started. I didn't find out someone took my land through a letter, or a phone call, or even a lawsuit. I found out because an entire neighborhood appeared where my forest used to be. 96 houses. Not frames. Not foundations. Finished homes. Painted. Landscaped. Families unloading moving trucks like it was the happiest day of their lives. And every single one of them was sitting on my property. My name is Dakota Flint. I'm 47 years old. I'm a structural engineer. Divorced. 2 kids in college. I drive a beat-up Silverado that drinks oil like it's a hobby. There's nothing flashy about me, except one thing. I inherited 47 acres of Colorado land from my grandfather. Paid off. Clean title. No debt. No liens. No drama. At least, that's what I thought. My grandfather bought that land back in 1971. Cash. $8,000 and a handshake. He was the kind of man who saved receipts for fence posts and nails. When he passed, he left me the deed and one handwritten note folded inside. Don't let anyone take what's yours. For years, the land just sat there. Pine trees. Dirt road access. Quiet. I didn't live on it, but I never abandoned it. I paid the property taxes every single year. Same month. Same online receipt. Never missed one. Life got busy. Divorce. Work. Tuition bills. I didn't visit for about 3 years. That mistake almost cost me everything. In August of 2022, I finally drove up to the property to scatter my grandfather's ashes. I took the same highway, turned onto the same dirt road, and then I slammed on the brakes, because the forest was gone. In its place stood rows and rows of identical beige houses, paved streets, streetlights, mailboxes, a stone entrance sign carved with the words, Ridgeline Heights, a Whitmore community. I checked my GPS. Then I checked it again. Same coordinates, same parcel. This was my land. I pulled toward the entrance and immediately got stopped by a security guard in a vest like he was guarding Fort Knox. Residents only, he said. I own this property, I replied, holding up my phone with the deed scanned on it. He laughed. Not politely, not awkwardly, full smirk. Sure you do. Turn around. Before I could say another word, a white luxury SUV rolled up behind us. The kind that costs more than my truck and my pride combined. Out stepped a woman who looked like she'd never waited in line for anything. Perfect hair, designer sunglasses, linen outfit, jewelry that screamed money without saying it out loud. She didn't even look at me at first. What's the issue? She asked the guard. He pointed at me. Claims he owns the development. That got her attention. She looked me up and down. Work boots, calloused hands, faded jacket. And in that moment, I knew exactly how she saw me. Not as a problem. As a joke. Oh, she said, smiling. That's adorable. I told her my name. Told her about my grandfather. Told her this land belonged to my family. She pulled out her phone, tapped for a few seconds, then looked back at me with a sharper smile. Our attorneys already confirmed this property was abandoned, she said. Under Colorado law, it qualifies for adverse possession. I've paid the taxes every year, I said. Her smile tightened. You know just enough law to be dangerous, she replied. She handed me a business card like it was something dirty. Our lawyer will explain why your claim is frivolous. Then she dropped the part that made my stomach turn. All 96 homes are sold, she said calmly. 16 million in pre-sales. Families move in next month. She leaned closer. People like you don't win against people like us. Then she did something I'll never forget. She took a photo of my license plate. Just in case, she said sweetly. I drove home shaking. That night, I spread every document my grandfather ever kept across my kitchen table. The deed, survey maps, tax receipts, decades of proof. She hadn't just insulted me. She'd threatened me. And she'd done it while standing on my land. That was when I realized something important. They didn't make a mistake. They knew exactly what they were doing. The next morning, I called their attorney. His receptionist already knew my name. She offered me $15,000 to sign a quitclaim deed and walk away peacefully. $15,000 for land worth over $4 million. I told her I'd see them in court. Then I hung up and called the only person I trusted to fight this kind of battle. A property attorney who didn't scare easily. Her first piece of advice stunned me. Don't stop them, she said. Let them finish building. I thought she was joking. She wasn't. And that's when everything changed. Because while they thought I was powerless, I was about to let them dig their own grave. By the time September rolled around, Ridgeline Heights looked like something out of a brochure. Perfect lawns, fresh asphalt, contractors everywhere, trucks in and out from sunrise to sunset. And I did exactly what my lawyer told me to do. Nothing. Nothing. I didn't protest. I didn't call the county again. I didn't post online. I didn't warn buyers. I watched. Every Tuesday and Friday, I parked my truck on the public road, turned on my phone camera, and documented everything. Timestamps, faces, license plates, construction progress, framers raising walls, electricians running wire, landscapers planting trees on soil my grandfather once walked. It felt wrong, almost cruel, but this wasn't about revenge yet. This was about evidence. About 3 weeks in, Cassandra noticed me. I saw her across the development, standing near a model home in heels that had no business touching dirt. She pointed in my direction, phone pressed to her ear. 20 minutes later, a sheriff's cruiser pulled up behind my truck. The deputy was young, polite, uncomfortable. "Sir, can I see your license?" I handed it over calmly. "She says you're harassing residents," he told me, taking photos, following her. "I'm on a public road," I said, "and I'm documenting construction on property I own." I gave him the parcel number. He checked his computer. Took longer than I expected. When he came back, his posture had changed. "Look," he said quietly, "this is a civil matter, but if she keeps calling it in, my hands are tied." Translation was clear. She had influence. I didn't. I nodded. Understood. He left. I kept filming. By October, houses were closing. Families moved in. Kids rode bikes down streets that used to be deer paths. I watched a couple carry a crib into one of the homes and felt something twist in my chest. These weren't bad people. They were victims. And Cassandra knew that. She was counting on it. Because once enough families moved in, she thought I'd be forced to back down. She was wrong. Late October, my lawyer called. "Good news," she said. "They've skipped a critical legal step." I leaned forward. "They filed an adverse possession claim," she explained. "But they never proved it in court. They never obtained a judgment. They just acted like they had. Which meant every sale was fraudulent. Every mortgage. Every contract. All of it built on sand." That's when she said the words I'll never forget. "If we file now, they'll declare bankruptcy and bury this in litigation. But if we wait, you won't just own the land." I swallowed. "You'll own the houses." If you're enjoying this story so far, make sure you're subscribed. Stories like this don't end the way you think they will. November came. Thanksgiving lights went up. Cassandra sent me a certified letter threatening to sue me for harassment. Inside was a photo of my truck, my license plate circled in red marker. I drove straight to my lawyer's office. She read it once. Then she laughed. "They're documenting their own wrongdoing," she said. "Every threat proves they knew you were asserting ownership." It didn't feel funny to me. It felt like being hunted. That feeling turned real in early December. I got a call from county code enforcement. Someone had reported illegal dumping on my land. Hazardous waste. Abandoned vehicles. None of it was true. The inspector met me on site, walked the property, and shook his head. "There's nothing here," he said, then lowered his voice. "Off the record, every Whitmore project I've inspected comes with complaints against someone else. Always before permits finalize." He handed me his card. "If you need a witness," he said, "call me." Then Cassandra escalated. She went public. A Facebook post appeared in a local community group with my name and photo. She accused me of stalking families, of taking pictures of children, of being dangerous. Hundreds of shares. Strangers posting my truck, my plate, telling people to watch out. My daughter called me crying. My son asked if I was going to jail. I wanted to respond, to defend myself. My lawyer stopped me. "Don't," she said. "Let her hang herself." The next morning, my boss put me on paid leave. "Just until this clears up," he said. People at work avoided me. Neighbors crossed the street. And that's when I realized Cassandra wasn't just fighting over land. She was trying to erase me. But she didn't know something. While she was spreading lies, my lawyer had already filed the case. And discovery had begun. What came out next would destroy her entire operation. And she had no idea what was about to hit her. Discovery is a funny word. It sounds harmless, academic, like you're learning something new. What it really means is this: both sides are legally forced to open their closets and dump everything onto the floor. And Cassandra Whitmore's closet was packed with skeletons. My lawyer called me late one evening in mid-December. Not during business hours. Not casually. Her voice was tight. "Dakota," she said, "I need you to sit down." I did. "We just got their internal communications," she continued. "Emails, memos, financing documents." I waited. "There's one email in particular," she said, "and it proves they knew." "Knew what?" I asked, even though my chest already felt heavy. "Knew you owned the land. Before they built anything." I didn't say a word. She forwarded it to me. The email was dated February 18, 2022, months before the first bulldozer touched dirt. It was from Cassandra's husband, Preston Whitmore, to Cassandra herself. Short, blunt, calculated. It said the adverse possession claim wouldn't hold up because Dakota Flint had been paying property taxes continuously. It warned her the land was not abandoned. And then came the line that made my hands start shaking. If we move fast, start construction, and sell before anyone notices, he'll either settle cheap or get buried in legal costs. Worst case, we declare bankruptcy. We've done this before. They didn't stumble into my land. They targeted it. My lawyer didn't celebrate. She got quiet. This turns everything criminal, she said. Fraud. Conspiracy. Possibly federal. I asked the question that had been clawing at my mind. What about the families? She didn't hesitate. They're victims. Just like you. Once that email surfaced, Cassandra panicked. You could feel it. She stopped sending legal threats. Stopped calling the sheriff. Instead, she went after my life. First, someone filed a false report claiming I was running an illegal dumping site. Then someone anonymously tipped the IRS, accusing me of tax fraud. Then my son called. Someone had shown up at his workplace. A private investigator. Asking questions about me. About my temper. About my past. About whether I'd ever been violent. That crossed a line. My lawyer filed emergency motions that same day. Witness intimidation. Defamation. Interference with employment. The judge didn't like it. Not one bit. 3 days later, Cassandra made her biggest mistake yet. She broke into my house. Nothing was stolen. Instead, she left a single printed message on my kitchen table. Drop it or lose everything. The police came. Took photos. Took fingerprints. My neighbor handed them a license plate number she'd written down earlier that day. It belonged to the same private investigation firm that harassed my son. That detail went straight into the case file. By January, the judge issued a temporary restraining order. Cassandra was barred from contacting me, posting about me, or filing any more anonymous complaints. Construction halted. Sales froze. And the HOA board went silent. That's when the homeowners started asking questions. Emails. Calls. Panic. What happens to our homes? Are we going to lose everything? Did we get scammed? I didn't answer directly. My lawyer told me not to, but I wanted to, because the truth was, I wasn't trying to take anything from them. I was trying to take it back from the people who stole it. The deposition of Preston Whitmore was scheduled for mid-January. Glass conference room. Court reporter. Both legal teams present. I sat across from him for the first time. He didn't look powerful anymore. He looked tired, sweaty, and scared. My lawyer slid the email across the table. Do you recognize this? She asked. He swallowed. Yes. And you wrote it? Yes. And in it, you acknowledged that Dakota Flint was the rightful owner of the land. His attorney tried to object. The judge had already ruled. He had to answer. Yes, Preston said quietly. That was the moment the case flipped. From property dispute to deliberate fraud scheme. 2 days later, their attorneys called asking for a settlement. 7 figures. Hushed. Fast. My lawyer didn't even counter. We'll see you in court, she said. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on my porch, staring into the dark, thinking about my grandfather's note. About the families who trusted the wrong people. About Cassandra, who thought money made her untouchable. She still had one move left. And I knew she wasn't done. Because desperate people never go quietly. Stay till the end, because what she did next didn't just cross legal lines, it crossed moral ones. This was the moment Cassandra Whitmore stopped fighting for land and started fighting to erase me. It happened overnight. 1 minute, my case was quietly moving through the courts. The next, my name was everywhere. A Facebook post appeared in a local community group with thousands of members. Pinned, boosted, shared. It had my photo, my truck, my license plate, and a headline that made my blood run cold. Warning, man stalking families at Ridgeline Heights. Cassandra wrote it herself. She accused me of taking photos of children, of harassing homeowners, of being dangerous. She tagged the sheriff's office. She told people to protect their families. By morning, the post had hundreds of shares. By noon, it had thousands. Strangers messaged me threats. People I went to high school with asked if it was true. My daughter called crying. My son asked me if he should quit his job. And then my boss called me into his office. He shut the door. That's never a good sign. He didn't accuse me. He didn't yell. He just looked exhausted. Dakota, he said, a client called this morning. They Googled you. I didn't need him to finish. They're nervous, he continued. School district project. Optics matter. They asked if you'd be involved. My chest tightened. I told them no, he said. And effective today, you're on paid leave. Paid leave. 2 weeks. After that, unclear. I walked out past coworkers who suddenly wouldn't meet my eyes. One woman I'd worked with for years crossed the hallway to avoid me. me. That's when it hit me. Cassandra wasn't trying to win in court anymore. She was trying to ruin my life so badly I'd settle just to make it stop. That afternoon, someone spray-painted pervert on my garage door. The police showed up, took photos, shrugged. Probably someone who believed the post, one officer said. I slept with a baseball bat next to my bed. My lawyer filed an emergency motion. Defamation, harassment, intentional infliction of emotional distress. The judge issued a temporary restraining order. Cassandra was ordered to stop. She didn't. Instead, someone leaked my personal information online. My address, my workplace, my kids' names. That was the night I almost quit. Almost. What stopped me was a phone call from a woman who lived in one of the houses. She was crying. She said she didn't know who to believe anymore, but she'd read the court filings. And she believed me. I just want to keep my home, she said. Please tell me you're not trying to take it. I promised her something right then. I said, I'm not your enemy. And once I said it out loud, there was no turning back. That's when my lawyer made the call that changed everything. She contacted a local investigative reporter. Not social media. Not Facebook. Real journalism. The kind that asks questions Cassandra couldn't silence. The interview aired a week before trial. They showed the deed, the tax receipts, the email. They showed Cassandra's post. They showed the timeline. And for the first time, the story flipped. Public opinion turned overnight. People saw what she was. A developer who tried to steal land, then destroy the man who stopped her. The day after the broadcast, I came home to find my front door unlocked. Inside, nothing was missing. But on my kitchen table sat a single piece of paper. Typed. 5 words. Drop it or lose everything. My neighbor had written down a license plate she saw that day. It belonged to a private investigator. The same one who harassed my son. That evidence went straight to the judge. And that's when the court stopped being patient. The trial was scheduled for the following week. 96 families were notified. The courtroom would be full. Cameras would be waiting. And Cassandra Whitmore was about to find out what happens when intimidation turns into proof. The courtroom was full before I even sat down. Families from Ridgeline Heights filled the benches. Some looked angry. Some looked terrified. A few looked hopeful. I recognized faces. The woman who'd called me crying. The couple with the crib. The guy who always waved when I parked on the road. They weren't my enemies. They were collateral damage. Cassandra Whitmore sat at the defense table in a cream-colored suit, perfectly styled, hands folded like she was attending a charity luncheon instead of a fraud trial. Her husband sat beside her, jaw clenched. Their attorneys stacked binders like shields. My lawyer leaned over. Let me do the talking. I nodded. Judge Ramirez entered, and the room went quiet in that heavy, charged way where you can feel the outcome getting close. Opening statements were short. They didn't need to be long anymore. The evidence spoke for itself. My lawyer walked the judge through it step by step. The deed, the tax records, the survey maps, the construction permits, the sales contracts. Then she submitted the email, the one that proved everything. She read it slowly, clearly, making sure every word landed. That email didn't just show intent. It showed planning. They knew the land was mine. They knew adverse possession wouldn't work. They built anyway, because they thought I'd quit. When Cassandra's attorney stood up, his voice sounded smaller than I expected. He talked about misunderstandings, complex property law, good faith mistakes. The judge stopped him halfway through. Counselor, she said, this is not a misunderstanding. This is fraud. Silence. Then she looked directly at Cassandra. Mrs. Whitmore, she continued, you don't get to bully someone out of their property and then claim surprise when they fight back. Cassandra didn't respond. She didn't have to. The judge turned to her notes and spoke the sentence that ended it all. The court finds in favor of the plaintiff on all counts. I didn't breathe. The defendant knowingly engaged in a calculated scheme to defraud the rightful owner of his property. I felt my hands start shaking. The plaintiff retains full ownership of the land and all structures built upon it. A gasp rippled through the room. All 96 homes, the judge continued, are hereby deemed the property of Dakota Flint. Cassandra's face went pale. The judge wasn't done. The court awards damages for trespass, fraud, emotional distress, and legal fees. This matter is referred to federal prosecutors for further review. That was it. No gavel slam. No dramatic pause. Just consequences. Outside the courtroom, families surrounded me. What happens to us? Someone asked. I raised my voice so everyone could hear. You keep your homes. The crowd went still. I'm not here to take anything from you. You bought in good faith. What was stolen wasn't your fault. I told them what my lawyer and I had already planned. I transferred the homes into a community trust. No one lost their house. No one got evicted. No one paid another dollar more than they already had. People cried, hugged strangers, thanked me like I'd saved their lives. Maybe I had. Cassandra Sandra lost everything. Her company dissolved. Her assets were seized. Her reputation evaporated. Her name became a warning in real estate circles. As for me, I kept a small portion of the land, built a modest cabin near the trees my grandfather loved. I wake up to pine air now instead of stress. My kids visit. My job came back. My name cleared. On my fridge is a child's drawing, one of the neighborhood kids. It's a house, a stick figure, and a giant piece of paper labeled, the deed. I think about my grandfather's note a lot. Don't let anyone take what's yours. He didn't just mean land. He meant dignity. If this story meant something to you, if you've ever been pushed, underestimated, or told to back down because someone had more money or power, hit like, share this with someone who needs it, and tell me in the comments what you would have done in my place. Because sometimes, the quiet guy with the paperwork wins. And sometimes, justice actually shows up.